Today on Richmond Independent Radio News, the city approves residential credits for stormwater fees. Beginning this year, the City of Richmond will make stormwater fee credits available to residential citizens after limiting it to commercial property owners in 2010. The fees, which go toward cleaning up the James River and local streams and creeks, amount to about $8 million and are reserved exclusively for treating stormwater issues. Chris Beschler, Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Richmond Department of Public Utilities, said the credits are easy to obtain.
You have to either reduce the quantity of runoff from your property, and if you do things that will reduce the quantity, then you can get a credit. Or if you do something to improve the quality of the runoff, then that allows you for credits as well.
Reducing quantity and quality are both easily achieved at a fairly low cost. Rain barrels, cisterns, rain gardens, vegetation strips, or any steps made to reduce impervious surfaces or surfaces that don't allow easy water absorption are a few of the ways to gain the credit. The stormwater fees, collected twice a year from property owners, are part of a federally mandated program to help clean up the Chesapeake Bay. Ravaged by high nutrient and sediment pollution from agriculture, city streets, and residential homes, the bay's ecosystem must be maintained according to the Environmental Protection Agency and the Clean Water Act of 1972. Original deadlines for bay cleanup have been all but ignored since the act's passing, but stormwater fees are part of a growing aggressive approach to the problem. Beschler said the pollution targeted by stormwater fees is often misunderstood by the public.
When we think of pollution, it conjures up images of tires and cans and bottles floating in the bay, but that's not the type of pollution we're talking about. The type of pollution we're talking about is nutrient pollution and also soil and sedimentation.
Fees are distributed based on total areas of impermeable surfaces on a property. Examples of those surfaces include concrete, compacted gravel driveways, and rooftops. Around $9 million is expected to flow into the city from both residential and non-residential fees, which the city began collecting last year. DPU expects to pay about $1 million in credits, leaving $8 million to be used on specific projects in the city. Beschler described the city-funded stormwater projects in three groups. The first handles cleaning water catch basins, mosquito control projects, and basic infrastructure maintenance. The second covers federal compliance issues, including installing new water retention basins. And the last group deals with the city replacing or installing infrastructure when and where it isn't needed. After filling out a credit application and taking a picture of the efforts a citizen has made, hydraulic engineers employed by the city will inspect properties. The credit lasts for 3 years, and the city has the right to inspect the property at any time during the term to make sure property owners are in compliance. But Beschler said some of the citizens have already taken steps to be eco-friendly. One such eco-warrior is Charlie Field, a civil engineer living in Richmond's Church Hill neighborhood. Field installed an underground cistern that collects rainwater from his roof as well as his neighbors. The water flows into a containment tank below 2 lots behind his house. He uses the stored water to support his urban garden.
So if you want to grow a garden on a vacant lot, you can either put in a cistern and $1,500, $2,000, or pay the city $5,000 and the plumbers another $4,000. So it was economic. It was just, if I want a garden, I need water.
While Field's story might be a bit extreme, he said he was glad to be doing his part to help the environment.
So every gallon we keep out of the storm system is a gallon we don't have to store or treat, and all of that is taxpayer money. So yeah, I mean, it makes good sense to keep every drop.
Fields didn't take great issue with the fee, which doesn't amount to much, between $2 and $6 a month depending on property size. Some citizens have not been as accepting of the fees. Past city council meetings have shown some non-residential fees in the thousands, as was the case in Branches Baptist Church in Richmond's South Side, which received a bill for over $6,000 last fall, according to the Times-Dispatch. City Council President Kathy Graziano said it was a realistic problem and that it needed to be addressed. Graziano spoke at a South Side public meeting to discuss the stormwater fees and credits program.
All these federal mandates on us that we have to clean up the water. Second of all, we were funding our stormwater out of our general fund, which was totally inadequate to address the problems that we had. And so for years we have not, whether we have federal mandates or not, we have not addressed the stormwater management problems that we have in the city of Richmond, and we need to do it.
Graziano admits the fees are low for residential properties, but if more citizens acted on the credits, it would make a big difference.
It's not even the money. It's if you contain that water, then there is less of a runoff into the creeks and into the river, and it makes cleaner creeks and cleaner river.
A lot of federal pressure came from lawsuits by environmental groups against Virginia and other Bay states' neglect of the Clean Water Act. The Chesapeake Bay Foundation has been one of the most vocal advocates for the Bay and its upkeep. CBF scientist Mike Jarrell said he was glad to see Richmond take the steps it has.
Gives folks credit for good things that they're doing on their property, and they don't have to pay the fee. You put in a rain barrel, you put in any number of practices on your property, you don't have to pay the fee. It gets action out there on individual sites rather than giving the money to the city where they have to do anything.
Jarrell said the positive outcome would be a great step in the direction of not only a cleaner Bay, but also a cleaner Richmond.
And it's going to not only benefit, your downtown areas, your big problems where there's flooding in the city, it'll benefit your neighborhood by having those credits go to work right in your yard.
Applications for credits, specific details of credit earning actions, and restrictions to the program are available on the Richmond DPU website. Applications are accepted throughout the year. Only property owners are allowed to apply for the program, though renters are encouraged to speak with their landlord about the steps they can take. For Richmond Independent Radio News, I'm Brad Kuttner.